Okay, you're making huge mistakes selling insurance and you need to step back, observe what you're doing, and fix them before it's too late. In this video, I'm going to give you the top 10 mistakes that you are making right now in your insurance selling efforts, as well as the fixes to overcome them. So make sure you stick around to hear all of them, because just fixing one of these things can change everything in your success in the insurance business. My name is David Duford, owner of Duford Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally to sell things like final expense, Medicare, and annuities, both face-to-face and over the phone. So let's jump right in. So the first thing, the biggest mistake I hear a lot of in reviewing sales presentations from agents, doing coaching calls and mock presentations with agents and new agents, inexperienced agents even, is a lack of enthusiasm. Guys, enthusiasm and a lot of enthusiasm makes up for a lot of the weaknesses that you may already be doing that I'm going to mention later. If you're not enthusiastic about helping people, people won't be enthusiastic about buying from you. Okay? Your prospects reciprocate your energy level. And it's important that you take the mindset that you are there to help people with something that's incredibly valuable to their survivors, to themselves if an accident happens in their car or their business, and realize that you play an important part in the lives of your prospects and protecting them from harm. Requires enthusiasm, because there's not a lot of people who can do what you do. And what you're doing is an act of God. It really is. It's very good stuff that we're doing. And you've got to enthuse or imbue yourself with enthusiasm. If you're boring, monotonous, if you're too slow in reading, if it sounds like you're reading a script, people will pick up on that. They won't necessarily recognize it as what I've just described, but they'll have no motivation to really do much business with you, because people like doing business with enthusiastic people. And if it doesn't sound like you believe the stuff that you're saying, then they won't buy from you. Number two is closing. You got to ask, okay? This is really important, that you've got to ask for the sale. Or assume the sale. You've got to progress forward and get definitive points in your presentation and your attempts to get a presentation to move the ball forward. So for example, when you're setting appointments over the phone, one big common issue I hear, especially when rebuttaling objections on the phone and at the door too, is not asking for the appointment. It's just saying everything up to that point, but not going all the way, all right? We got to hit a home run. It's not good enough to get to third base. We only count the runs that come all the way in. So close your appointments. Close at the presentation. Ask for the business with enthusiasm, of course, okay? Number three is selling the product on the phone or at the door instead of the presentation. So what I like to teach my face-to-face agents, this doesn't apply for telesales, a different thing altogether. But for those of you who are face-to-face, stay away from selling the product, okay? You have to understand that in a face-to-face model, the sales comes from seeing the prospect, okay? Making a human connection with them, reading their body language, to get better information that you can more easily secure face-to-face than over the phone. Therefore, it's imperative when you set appointments that you sell the ease and the quickness and the lack of pressure that the client will experience meeting with you than trying to sell all the features and benefits of the product. What happens is if you sell the product over the phone, you're giving your prospect more outs to not meet with you. Okay, so what you should do is very simple. A very simple script to sell the appointment sounds something like this. My name is David Duford. The reason I'm calling you is that you sent back this pink postcard requesting information on our state-regulated final expense programs, and it's my job to deliver this information you requested. All I need is 5 minutes to show you how this works, and what you do with this information is entirely up to you. Can I come over at 10 or would 2 be better? That is a perfect example of how to sell the appointment. All I need is 5 minutes. I'm delivering the information. What you do with it's up to you. No, there's no talk about is it whole life, term life, what's the rates, etc. It's all about getting in the door, and that's what we're closing on. You will get, when you do this, you will get more appointments, you will make more sales, and you will be a much happier agent. So check your script about how you're saying that both over the phone and in the door. Let me move my camera out of the way of the sun. So the next tip on the list here is giving out, okay? So common problem I hear in the sales presentation. We should always, in most cases, ask questions that either give us a yes or a yes. We don't want to give clients the ability to say no. So for example, we don't want to close by saying, do you want this life insurance product? Yes or no? Well, that's might give them the option to say no. Whereas a better way to ask questions is, which one of these three options fits your budget best? That's a close where the only option, the assumption is they're going to buy. We're not asking them to buy. We're asking them to make a decision between the three of which one to buy, right? That's a much more powerful way to ask questions in the presentation. It's going to get them more aligned with you as you move through the presentation. It makes a tremendous difference. Point number 5, I think, hopefully I'm keeping track here, actually believing what your prospects allege. One of the hardest things for me to believe, because I'm generally a half glass full kind of guy, is believing our prospects mean what they say. That when they say something like, I need to talk to my kids, I need to pray about it, I don't make decisions on the first time around, like they actually mean it. That was a big issue for me to overcome. And it took me buying several vehicles over the course of my life for myself and my family to realize that the crap that I said to these car salesmen was bogus too. I mean, I've told them, you know, I'm shopping around, I'm thinking about buying the Tacoma when I was really going to buy the Honda Ridgeline, and I was just kind of price checking him, and it sounded totally legit, but nobody held me to it. Nobody offered me something that maybe would have gotten me in the door. So people believed my line of crap. And so you have to understand, you know, we live in a mercantile economy, and people are used to salespeople, and they kind of know the game a little bit. So you got to call their bluff all the time, all right? You don't always want to believe your prospect's reasons for not buying, because many times, more often than you think, it ain't the truth. So the way that you handle that is asking them, how do they mean? Offering them propositions to take action today. Offering things that, and then making sure you instill urgency why today is the best day to buy. So again, you got to realize that's the situation that you're in. Even though you do good work, people say things that are half-truths, and you got to call their bluff on it, okay? Another thing you may not be, you may be doing that you're not aware of is talking too much. The Hollywood perception of a good salesperson is the one that runs their mouth indefinitely and just wears the client out to buy. But that's Hollywood. Like most things in Hollywood, it's utterly fake, not true. A good salesperson shuts up and listens much more often than they talk. And they do targeted listening where they don't talk at critical elements in the presentation, especially asking for the appointment and asking for the appointment, closing in the appointment, asking questions that require a lot of context, and learning how to keep their mouth shut. So it's important that you check yourself, and if you're talking too much, or if you feel like you're sharing too much with the client, you probably are, and you need to learn how to ask open-ended questions to get and facilitate more conversation with the client. That brings me to point number 7, not going deep enough in the fact-finding or pre-qualification phase. So all of us in insurance sales, we have to figure out what the client wants, what's motivating them, why are they wanting insurance today, what do they want to accomplish. We've got to ask these questions, and we've got to be quiet and let them answer in full, and then ask more questions to follow up and go deeper. One of the best strategies I can give you to analyze if you're doing well enough in this section is ask yourself, are you doing open-ended questions? If you're not doing an open-ended question type of routine, you're probably not going deep enough. An open-ended question is, what were your thoughts and concerns when you sent back this card? Or why are we here today? What caused you to request this information on life insurance? Versus, do you think life insurance is important? That's a yes-no question. There's no context to it. So it's really important that we develop the skill set to identify how to ask questions in a way that facilitates context, because it makes just such a tremendous difference. So check yourself. Are you doing that? If not, you need to start doing that right away. Number 8, disrespecting the competition. Don't make fun of your competition. Don't demean them. Don't talk them down. You may not realize your client may have done business with your competition at once, or may have seriously considered doing business with that. And what your client will instantly think is that you are questioning their intelligence and causing them doubt or making them look inferior, okay? So stay away from talking bad about your competition. Instead, what should you do? Talk great about them. Tell them why they are good, but also why sometimes in certain situations, other options are best. There's a way to say things where you can get your point across, where you're not insulting the client, but in return, really, you're kind of elevating yourself if you think through this stuff. Number 9 here, selling to only one spouse. So big mistake, guys, if you're doing this. And this is, I don't know, I guess I could see females or males both doing this. We all know that the women make the decision in the household, right? I'm married. My wife makes a lot of decisions, even though I pound my chest about certain things. Not all of them, but a lot of them, admittedly, just don't tell her. So what do I mean by that? Well, a perfect example, when I was a kid, I remember this clearly, and I had no interest in sales. I went to get braces at the orthodontist, and my mom and dad are divorced. My dad was paying for the braces, so the check was already cut, right? But we still had the decision whether or not we're going to do business with these people, all right? So mom and I went there, and the orthodontist strictly talked to me 95% of the time. I'm like 12, all right? And he's kind of telling what we're going to do and how this was going to happen, etc., asking me questions, and never really asked my mother any questions. And I remember walking out of the orthodontist office, and my mom was pissed. She couldn't believe how this male doctor didn't even regard her opinion, her thoughts, or anything like that because my dad had cut the check. Now, here's the thing. We still got braces there. I still got braces there. But if you do this kind of tactic in front of your clients and you talk to the husband, this is more often than not, it can be a female agent or a male agent doing this, and you sit there and talk to the husband, and you talk to the husband obviously more and get their opinions more than the female, you're going to lose that deal, okay? So what you need to do is actively engage both people when you're asking questions, when you're going through the presentations. Ask the husband, what's your thoughts on this? What do you think, Mrs. Jones? Get them both involved. They both need to air out their feelings and their perspectives because you want both of them on board. The worst thing you can do is if you're a female and you go talk to the husband, is get her thinking that you guys are flirting or something, right? I mean, it sounds stupid, I know. But this stuff goes through people's head. And people won't buy even though they need it because of this dumb crap, okay? And it's easily preventable. So just have a conversation with both people as you go through the process, and I think what you'll find is that you will do exceedingly well. The last one, this is probably the biggest mistake that you're making that you gotta fix now, is thinking that it's okay to not take action today. Now, this is a pretty big topic. It's really important that you embrace this, and there's a couple of things here I'll speak on. Number one, you have to understand that today is the best day always to get insurance. Your health may change. Your circumstances in life may change, where you may not be eligible to take it out. I had a client die the following day after I wrote her up for a policy, and her daughter had some coverage, but had I not showed up or urged her to purchase, then they wouldn't have had anything at all. You have to develop this understanding that you have to have urgency when it comes to buying insurance. And it's not acceptable to wait under any circumstances. But wait, Dave, what if they have to talk to their kids, talk to their wife, talk to somebody else, pray to their pet rock? I don't know. Well, you got to come up with compromises. You got to come up with ways to move the ball down the field, to get ink on paper, as we used to say, or to get the application submitted. One of the best tactics to use is say, hey, that's fine, you want to talk to him, great, but here's the thing. I'm real busy. I'm not going to be back here tomorrow. And here's the thing, you need insurance. You said as much. You said this is important. And here's the thing, your health may change tomorrow. We've all known people who were healthy one day and then dead the next, or their health changed. So here's my proposition. Let's just get you approved. I don't even know if I can get you approved. We'll start with this plan here, at least get something on paper, and then you can call me back tomorrow if you decide that you don't want to do this. Otherwise, we'll run this through, get this done, and you're going to be so relieved and thankful that you now have peace of mind and don't have to worry about this. And that will work, and that will push those people over the edge that are kind of just hanging out, not being fully on board about things. So there's your 10 tips to hopefully help you do better when you're selling insurance. So how do you do this? One of the best things I can recommend is record yourself, listen to yourself. It might feel cringe to do that, but you're going to identify all sorts of opportunities where you're screwing things up and get immediate results about where you can improve. And the great thing is you don't have to send it to a salesperson or a trainer if you're kind of, vulnerable like that. You can just listen to yourself and you'll be like, oh man, I can't believe I didn't do that. I didn't even think about that. So recording yourself is a way that you address all these questions. And again, you can clean up a ton of stuff inside of 25 presentations recorded. And this, the least expensive coaching that you're going to get is just by listening to yourself, okay? Hope you enjoyed this video. David DeFord's my name. If you're interested in selling in my agency, click the links above and below. You'll see where you can learn more about how my agency works. If you've got comments, suggestions on big mistakes that are made in the field, maybe that you'd like to throw out that I didn't, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you around. Guys, take care. Thank you.